Всем снова здравствуйте. О, мы закончили на том, что второй эпизод был завершен. Слушаем третий эпизод.
I can't tell anyone except my agent Barry.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her. You're my best friend, and I'm worried that you're not right in the head.
The ransom is a manuscript I supposedly wrote that's coming true before my eyes.
It happened just the way it was on that page. So dark.
I have found only a few scattered pages.
I want the entire manuscript.
The deadline is in 2 days.
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
Good girl.
How the hell did she get her hands on the manuscript anyway?
I don't know. She's resourceful. I told you you were too hard on her. Listen, I found out all sorts of interesting stuff while I was digging around.
Yeah.
Mr. Wake, it's Sheriff Breaker. We have an FBI agent here, Agent Nightingale.
FBI?
He's anxious to see you. You'd better come to the station.
Okay, I'll be right over, Sheriff. Let's make this quick, huh?
Help you folks? Name's Randolph. I'm the manager.
We're looking for Rose. Works as a waitress down at the diner.
Rose, sure. Nice girl. Who wants to know?
I'm Alan Wake.
The writer, huh? I heard on the radio you were visiting. Well, I'll show you her trailer. That Rose? She's a nice girl. Always pays her rent on time.
As I was saying, Al, I found all sorts of weird stuff from the local
Она,
newspaper's
никакого
archives.
собирательства.
This
Господи,
place
мужик
is
быстрее
crazy.
сидит своими поршнями.
Disappearances,
Я
mysterious
все еще
deaths,
недовольна.
urban legends come true, and
Простите,
get
вы
this,
хромаете.
most of this stuff
Простите,
takes
мол,
place around
простите меня.
Cauldron Lake.
Well, you
Мне
ain't
очень
wrong,
стыдно.
mister. The Indians thought the lake was a doorway to the underworld. I'm the God-fearing type myself. I don't hold with that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, there was an island there owned by a
Смотрите,
guy
как
called
это вот,
Thomas Zane. Now,
двигание.
some of the articles I found about him make him out to be a famous writer, but I ran a bunch of searches, couldn't find a single thing he wrote. Zane was heavily into diving, so much so that the place came to be called Diver's Isle. But the volcano under the lake erupted in 1970, and Zane went down with the island.
Yeah, how about that? It was there in the morning, as if it had fallen from the sky. But it would take a tornado to lift something like that. We're damn lucky it didn't crush any of the trailers.
Не думала, что другое. Куда ты меня ведешь?
It gets better. A local girl, Barbara Jagger, drowned in Cauldron Lake just a week earlier. They were lovers.
Sure, Jagger's a local spook story. The scratching
Что,
hag
лук?
comes for you in the dark. Childish stuff like that.
Anyway, Al, I'm just getting to the best part. All of the articles about this stuff were written by Cynthia Weaver. I asked around, and she's that crazy bag lady you met.
What, the lamp lady? She can be a little loopy, but she's not homeless or anything.
Yeah, anyway, she knew both Jagger and Zane before they both died, and she had...
Секунду. Мне кажется... Угу. Понятно, панические страницы, видимо, где-то. Ладно, мы это послушаем позже.
kind of a breakdown.
О, что меня зажали-то между собой? Что это сейчас было, Алан?
Well, mister, this here's Rose's trailer. You mind me asking what you want with her?
We're just here to talk to her, pal.
Я забыла, как ее сразу уже зовут. Роуз.
Welcome to... Oh dear, Mr. Wake. I'm so glad you're here.
Rose, you have my manuscript?
Oh yes. Yes. Please, come in.
Hey, this is really good.
Rose,
Yes.
My manuscript. I really need it.
I understand. I know what you need. A muse to inspire you.
Oh, for Barry. She doesn't have anything.
Yeah, hey, Al, what's... Oh...
Barry! What? What?
Волшебная комната. Вот что.
It's coming for you, hiding in my barber's skin. I'm too weak to stop it. You must turn the lights on.
I promised I'd come visit you and your lovely wife. You must finish what you started. I insist.
You must turn the lights on. Turn the light on.
Back to work, boy.
Вот это, конечно, его
I
штырит.
felt nauseous, hungover. Only anger kept me going.
I can't tell reality from dream anymore, but it seems I have an imaginary editor to help me. She's an old woman in a funeral dress. I call her Barbara Jagger. She's very strict. I'm writing faster and faster. My manuscript is being heavily revised. The edits are getting very aggressive, and each day there's less of me and more of her. I hate it, but I know she's right. She promises me I can save Alice this way. She knows more of this than I do. About the complex incantation I'm attempting. About this place. She's worked with another writer under similar circumstances, Thomas Zane. The genre of the story seems to be shifting. It's turning into a horror story. I'm getting close. I can feel it.
Окей. Так, ладно. Давайте дочитаем то, что у нас было, потому что я забыла.
The night had been one desperate situation after another. I was exhausted, and my body felt as though it had been chewed up and spat out. The flashlight was heavy in my hand, and each pull of the trigger sent a painful shock up my arm. But I was finally out of the woods, and things were looking up. That's when I heard the chainsaw. When Barry saw the darkness attack the visitor center, it made him a believer. The men Al said he'd shot, they hadn't been just locals on crank. Somehow the world had changed, like the channel had been switched without warning. You think you're watching a sitcom, and you're really watching a horror show. When the birds started attacking the cabin, Barry wasn't surprised, just terrified. The FBI agent's command froze me in place. I considered surrender. It was all falling apart anyway. I could give in, let someone else deal with it, but it felt all wrong. Call it instinct, his posture, the way he held the gun. He was no friend. Shots ringing in my ears, I leaped for the hole in the fence and stumbled into the darkness beyond. The logging site was a mess. The modular office had been pushed off the cliff. Deputy Thornton climbed up from the wreckage excited, breathing hard from the exertion. Nobody there. It's weird. Don't you think that's weird? Bored, Mulligan let out a mighty snort. Hell, it's always weird, Thornton. Just a question of sorting out what kind of weird it is this time around.
Ну и две мы не нашли, даже три мы не нашли. Как вариант, нужно было зайти в одну там в пещеру, еще где-нибудь, еще две пошататься. Ну, это на кошмаре. Как бы логично. Так, здесь три на кошмаре, остальные, по идее, в доступе. Ну, я ничему не удивлюсь, если...
Rose took a day from me. I had less than 12 hours left to meet the kidnapper. All I could do was get Barry into the car, work something out once I got on the road.
Кофеман доволен.
Welcome to the Oh Dear Diner.
Бедная Роуз.
What can I get you today?
Как обычно,
Coffee?
I couldn't work up much hate for Rose. Something had used her to get to me and left its mark.
First refill is free. Milk and sugar on the counter there. Would you like to hear today's specials? Thank you. A nice day. Come back soon.
Моя книга. Ну, в смысле, Алана. А?
My gun and flashlight were gone. I'd have to find a way to get Barry into the car as quickly as possible. There was no time to waste. Mr. Randolph liked Rose. That little smile she had. How she was still sweet when life had tried so hard to make her bitter. It wasn't any of his business what she did in her trailer. But those strangers, the writer and his smart-ass sidekick, looked like trouble. And they'd been in there for hours, way past her normal bedtime. He reached for the phone and called the sheriff's station.
Подкасты опять.
I just stepped outside to catch a breath of fresh air. Let me tell you, the weather's getting heavy. Nights like this make me especially glad I'm here talking to you and not home in bed. Once the weather takes a turn like this, I can't sleep at all.
Честно, не хочу слушать. Ну, она настолько иногда бывает скучная, в плане того, что и очевидно, это такой, типа, ну... Что такое себе?
Oh, you're gonna get it now. God knows what you've done to that poor girl.
This is Agent Nightingale, FBI! Get him up, Hemingway! You're under arrest! You move a muscle, I'll unload right in your goddamn face! Stay right where you are, Spillane!
What are? I'm standing right here, you goddamn maniac!
I hated to leave Barry behind, but there was no way I'd miss my appointment with the kidnapper.
Give it up, Mr. Wake! Come on! Take it easy! Get after him! Don't let him get away! Move it! Move it! Move it! I'll have your shot if you let him get away! Okay, men, keep your eyes peeled. He's gonna try to make it through here. Where is he?
Oh, damn.
Get it out! Wait! Wait! Don't move! Where did he go? Wait! God damn it! Where did he go?
Что происходит? Что я сделал? Вау, вау, вау. Вообще ничего не понимаю. Я вижу страницу, походу.
He's gone! Come on, guys! We need to head him off!
For decades, the darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's skin slept fitfully in the dark place that was its home and prison. It was hungry and in pain. It dreamed of its nights of glory when the poet's writing had called it from the depths and given it a brief, terrible taste of power and freedom. The rock stars had stirred it from the deep sleep the poet had sunk it back to in the end. When it sensed the writer on the ferry, it opened its eyes.
То есть, типа, из-за меня? Вы рофлите? Серьезно? Тьма? Сейчас? Fuck you! Да, сорян, простите. Ничего страшного. Я что-то пока не понимаю.
This horror was everywhere I went, circling me. The cops didn't stand a chance. They were after a writer, not a monster.
Уже есть. Да-да, спасибо, подсветите мне. Я как бы за. Свети! Ай, что ты мне камеру прыгаешь? What the fuck? Так, ладно.
This is Jane. Mulligan, Thornton, come in. Over.
Thornton here. Jane, we got both Wheeler and Rose in custody. They didn't put up a fight or anything. Why, they were... Hey, what are you... Come on.
Sit down and give me that. Jane, Mulligan here. Over. Go ahead, Mulligan. Over. We got Wheeler and Rose here. Wheeler's drunk or hopped up on something. Speaking of which, that Fed had a pretty distinctive whiff of Oda Scotch about him, you know what I mean. Over. I don't have anything on that, Deputy Mulligan. Over. Well, whatever. Anyway, Rose is just being plain weird here. You better get Doc in and take a look at both. Over. Gotcha. You better get them here quickly. The Fed's gonna want to interview Wheeler. Over.
I could see the lights at the radio station in the distance.
Looks like they have a lot in common. Mulligan out.
Окей. Ой, да, конечно, ты себе все ноги ломаешь сразу. Ты же не можешь по-человечески спуститься-то. Ну как я буду без фонарика и вообще без любого?
I imagined that the broadcast tower in the distance was part of the local radio station. Maine seemed like a decent guy. Perhaps he could give me directions to the coal mine.
Может, я где-то пропустила? Ну, как у меня бывает в большинстве случаев.
Unnatural shadows clung to the gate. The darkness that was after me was trying to stop me. I wouldn't get through without a light. There was no power to the searchlight.
Работает. Ну ладно. Просто если сейчас будут эти вывозить так без, как сказать бы, ну, когда не будут мне ничего прожимать, это надо уворачиваться постоянно, либо очень быстро все клацать. Реакция картошки не отменяется, на секундочку. Вот, например, как здесь. Чё? Нет, фонарик мне все-таки дали. Смотрите-ка. Значит, не так безнадежно.
It took me a moment to recognize the flashbang grenades. They were an ideal weapon for my situation.
Класс. Ничего он не доложит уже. Вместо пуха у меня нет пистолета. И какой мне до нас это идти?
KBFFM with Pat Maine.
It's Milt Peabody, Pat.
What's on your mind, Milt?
Well, I live near the trailer park, Pat, and there's a big ruckus going on over there.
Well, that's just up the road from me, too. What's going on, do you know?
I don't know, but there's a bunch of police cars there, lots of sirens, a helicopter buzzing around, and I think I heard some gunshots.
Gunshots?
Yes, sir, like from a pistol. So can you find out what's going on? Because it's just next door, they're popping off guns there.
They're still shooting?
No, it was maybe 10-15 minutes ago. It sounds serious, Pat. I'm telling you, it don't sound like no party.
Ой, все, короче, в этом долго балаболить, я состарюсь реально. Ну я же увернулась. Вообще иногда не понимаю, как это работает. Потому что вы не состакались все вместе. Отстань. Слава богу, не слышит, что я сейчас сказала плохие слова.
I hope Maine could lend me a car to get to the coal mine.
Там человек есть. Я видишь кофе. Я, кстати, так и не увидела ни одной страницы. вот за все это время, пока бежали. Потому что там есть. Ну, точнее, невозможно, там 100% есть. Всякое. Ну, не может такого не быть, чтобы не было.
I had no idea how to get to the coal mine. Maine would know. And I had a feeling I wouldn't get a chance to ask anyone else anytime soon.
Well, thank you very much for that compassionate viewpoint, Lorna. Oh, here's a little surprise. The famous writer Alan Wake just walked in. Folks, I'm going to see if I can talk him into an interview.
Come on in, Mr. Wake. Oh, I'm so glad you could find the time to do this, Mr. Wake.
Nowhere to run now, Dan Brown. You back away from me. Don't hurt her.
Whoa. Everyone calm down. Put the gun down. We're all friends here, right?
Cool your jets, Nightingale. We got him. What the hell's the matter with you? There's a civilian in there.
Меня уже второй раз обзывают каким-то непонятным именем. Причем разным. Теперь кто-то там, сейчас опять кто-то. Что за рофл? Я не понимаю. Они там все под нар... В общем... Да.
I had fallen off so many cliffs it was ridiculous. That's what you get for naming a book The Sudden Stop. It was probably good I hadn't had the chance to tell Maine where I was going. I'd have to lose the cops and find my own way to the mine. Nightingale stared through the broken studio window into the dark woods. He turned around, started to walk out, but Maine grabbed his arm. "Young man, you almost shot me. You don't shoot off rounds at people like that. What's the matter with you?" Nightingale shook his arm free, marched out. His cheeks burned with rage and humiliation.
Я вообще реально не понимаю, что здесь происходит, честно. У меня прям темный лес пока что. Вижу что-то блестящее впереди. Так, что у нас? Май гад. Куда мы идти? Куда мы идем? Да?
There was no sensible reason for the power company work lights to be here. It was almost as if they'd been left for someone like me to use.
А? Не с этой стороны? С этой? Что я делаю? Зачем это? Вообще с пистолета стреляю. Так. А? Так. Здесь что, видео светящееся? Нет, 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 нет. Нет, 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 нет. Не знаю, куда бежать опять. А, туда, наверное. Вообще не знаю, как он с фонарем паникует. У него тут сразу... Смотрите. Сейчас начнется. Нет? Еще рано? Ладно, понимаете, походу сюда. А, ну здесь неизбежно, походу, да? Ну, то мы все почитаем. Заберем все. Hello.
Hello?
The most stubborn man I've ever met.
Alice? Alice?
Alan. Alan. I'm so afraid. It keeps me in the dark. Please help me. I look at you, Alan, and it's not you. Something else. Looking out from behind your eyes.
Alice, I'm here.
I'm so alone here. It's all gonna go to hell. You need to be careful. Cooperate.
The connection had been terrible, but that wasn't the only thing that hadn't been right with the call. She sounded wrong somehow, but she had called me.
Очень интересно, ничего не понятно. Окей. Что нашел, то мое? Ага. Надо потом посмотреть, что за достижение. Что хорошее. Патроны пригодились. Сейчас потратить одну батарею, правда? Ладно. Не, я согласна, что люди выдыхаются, да, но просто здесь как-то не отображается у тебя стамина, скажем так. Вот ты не знаешь, когда отжать по
I could see a railway bridge up ahead and a warehouse of some sort on the opposite shore. I hoped I could find a car from there.
Если только не считать время. Все, давайте сейчас почитаем.
Sarah trusted her gut, and her gut said Agent Nightingale was an asshole. He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers. Where was Alan Wake? What was this about an accident? Where was his wife? And most importantly, why did she let Wake go? He wouldn't answer her questions. Federal business was all he'd say. The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework. Wrapped in darkness, it floated in midair, twitching For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The heavy object lurched at me with impossible force. I threw myself out of the way, but just barely. When I turned my flashlight on it, it shook in a dark rage before it flew at me again.
Что я заслакала. Как бы она прочитала и сижу, жду, когда он дочитает. Такая типа ла-ла-ла, а потом такая, ой, а он молчит. Что я-то сижу, жду.
That was pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path.
Меня еще никогда не пытались убить балки. И тележки, матерь божья. Все бывает впервые, походу, да? О, господи, какой ужас. Не, подожди, пока отрегенится хп теперь, я не знаю, правда, как это работает здесь.
I slammed the door shut right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to form, the asshole actually thought I would obey. I had no sympathy left, no guilt either, not for him. I took a moment to savor the scream. I bet I had a smile on my face. It was all that I had time for. The dark presence was inside the lodge with me.
Понятно, хп в этой штуке не спать. Ну, это, конечно, было круто. Меня никогда еще не пыталась убить. Балка. Банки эти. Просто... Вы никогда такого не видели? Ну, тогда мы идем к вам.
As a teenager, just starting to get interested in writing, Stephen King had been a source of inspiration to me. I thought about all the inanimate objects that had come to life in his books. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
А, у меня сейчас мощный фонарик. Какие-то глаза. Я вижу арену. Я вижу в начале кофе. Простите, кофейному маньяку нужно. Да, конечно, конечно. Хороший. Слушайте, ну ты какой-то... Ты вот нажимаешь на кнопки... не, короче... Нажимаешь этот уворот дурацкий. Can't handle. Сложно. Подожди, дверь внизу открывается? Да не, конечно же. Да ну... Так, а если такими штуками фигачить? Ключи. Ой, опять этот будет базарить о своем. Прекрасно. Вот, сейчас тоже начнется вакханалия. Вот я должен увидеть. Ах.
Never been this glad to see the sunrise. I had a couple of hours to get to the coal mine.
Я кое-что видела, какое название, поэтому походу придется до этого закончить.
The coal mine wasn't far now. Today, I would meet the kidnapper, and he would give me Alice. I wouldn't give him any other choice. A drowning man will clutch at a straw.
Ну, что ж, мы пока на этом закончим. Будет гораздо меньше, чем обычная серия. Вот. Потому что, к сожалению, у нас немножко так сложились обстоятельства. Вы сами все видели. Всем большое спасибо. Если это все-таки будет на ютубе. Да, я в курсе. Все, успокойся, через 3 минуты. Всем большое спасибо за просмотр. Если он будет, да. Вот. Всем мау-мау. До скорых встреч.